Once upon a time, two families came to a rabbi wanting him to settle a dispute of boundaries over their land. He listened to the members of one family as they recounted how they had received this land as their inheritance from their ancestors and how it had been in their family for generations. They had maps and papers to prove it. Then the rabbi listened to the other family. Its members described how they had lived on the same land for years, working it and harvesting it. They claimed that they knew the land intimately and that it was their land. They didn't have papers to prove it, but they had calluses and sore backs and the harvest and the produce of the land. The rabbi looked at them both and backed away from between them. But they turned on him and said, "Decide, Rabbi, who owns this land?" The rabbi knelt down on that land and put his ear to the ground, listening. Finally, he stood up and looked at both families. He said, "I had to listen to both of you, but also I had to listen to the land, the center of this dispute. And the land has spoken. Neither of you owns the land you stand on. It is the land that owns you." The people often ask pastors and priests a wide range of questions, from biblical and theological inquiries. Often people, will call with a follow-up query to a topic that cropped up in a sermon, to more unusual questions and requests. And sometimes we feel ill-equipped to respond to these unusual requests, as they may not have more knowledge on the matter than the next person. And today's gospel reading presents a similar moment. A man comes to Jesus, not seeking spiritual guidance, but practical arbitration over an inheritance. He doesn't ask for wisdom, he demands a resolution. His focus, like the families disputing over the land, is fixed on what he thinks he owed. Centuries back, when Moses had embroiled in an argument between two Hebrews and was questioned back, "Who has appointed you ruler and judge over us?" We read from the book of Exodus. And Jesus is aware of this, and he quotes in a similar fashion, "Friend, who appointed me as your judge and arbitrator?" There is this instinct in each one of us to seek justice, to get even. We all have moments when we feel we deserve more, whether from our families, our work, or even from God. We might not always say it out loud, but in our hearts we can become fixated on what we don't have and what we are not given, rather than being grateful for what we do. And this man's problem wasn't just that he wanted justice from his brother. It was that he couldn't see past his own desire for more. He felt he was entitled to a share of the estate, and he wanted Jesus to help him resolve his quarrel with his brother. How often do we still hear of siblings fighting over their parents' estate because they felt they did not get their fair share? However, Jesus did not deal with the specific issue raised. Instead, he helped the man to see a bigger issue underlying his demand for justice. The underlying reason was greed, selfishness, and attachment. It could be argued that he may be legally entitled to a share of the inheritance. However, did he truly need the inheritance to find happiness in life? Jesus challenges us to look deeper. Is it possible that the pursuit of fairness, the hunger for more, comes from a place of dissatisfaction with what we already have? Could it be our attachment to material things blinding us to the richness of life that God offers us in simplicity, in relationships, and in faith. And as we reflect on this passage, let us ask ourselves, are we owned by the things we seek? Are we allowing God to free us from those attachments to find true peace?